I want to clear up some questions about this Trump-Moscow project and why Michael Cohen lied to Congress about it and why President Trump misled the American people about it. So just very clearly, did President Trump or anyone on the Trump team ever have a conversation with Michael Cohen about his congressional testimony?
Well, let me correct the premise of the question. The president didn't lie to the American people about it.
He said he had no dealings with. He said he had no dealings with Russia, and as by your own admission, he was talking with people in Moscow about a Trump-Moscow project through November 2016.
He wasn't talking to people in Russia about anything. He didn't talk to people in Russia at all. There's not a single stitch of evidence. It was an early stage proposal that never got beyond a non-binding letter of intent that was being run by Michael Cohen. It was his project, and it was being done while Donald Trump was running for president of the United States, and wasn't focused on that at all.
Sure, okay, but he said, I have no business there. I have no business there. Well, I have no deals there. That's not true.
Absolutely accurate.
That
is not inaccurate. That is not what you're saying is not accurate. I run a business. We do it in a lot of countries. I have proposals right now in 6 different countries. 2 of them have been accepted. I'm doing business in the 2 that are accepted, not the 4 in which I have proposals. I would be misleading to my partners if I said I was doing business in the 6 in which I have proposals. There's no business there. So when he said I'm not doing business in Russia,
he said I don't deal there.
I don't have any. He doesn't. He has a proposal by Michael Cohen that never went anywhere.
He was in the middle but Michael Cohen was in the middle of talking to Russians about a potential deal.
No, he wasn't. He wrote a letter, a non-binding letter of intent. He sent it to a general post office. He didn't even know where to send it. He had a couple of discussions. Michael Cohen did, not the president. And it was the last thing on the president's mind. So he was running for president of the United States. You know how busy that is. We're talking about 2016. You're not thinking about some proposal that at best is 3 years down the line.
Okay, he's going to jail.
Maybe
Michael Cohen he's going to jail for not being honest about the Trump-Moscow project. I mean, he's going to jail for it.
No, he's not.
In part.
He's not. Well, what he's doing is he's telling the prosecutors what they want to hear. Now, you don't know if that's the truth or not. He has 2 contradictory statements, soon to be under oath.
There was a Trump Tower Moscow deal. It just never actually came to fruition. They were discussing it.
There was no deal.
There was a non-binding letter about it.
Wrong. There is no such thing as a deal. Come on now.
So it's not a deal until the very, very final process.
All right. Let's say I wrote a proposal to Rome to do security for Rome. I'm doing security in 5 other places. You say to me, where are you doing business? I would say the 5 places I'm doing business. Okay. Not I'm seeking business in Rome. God almighty, I'd then be doing business. It looked like my business was gigantic. So the president gave the accurate answer.
So,
I don't believe anything he says. Look, you're focusing on this minutia. The reality is, yesterday BuzzFeed published a story that was scandalous. It was horrible. So they should be they should be sued. They should be under investigation. They said the president of the United States counseled someone to lie. And the special counsel had to go through the extraordinary act.
I'm trying to get to the bottom. Let's get to the bottom. I want to find out the truth there.
That's because you have a hysteria. That's because you've got a hysteria going on in the media that interprets everything against Donald Trump.
There's no hysteria here, sir.
And
I want to get to the bottom.
Should be careful.
Yes.
What they did yesterday is truly fake news and disgusting.
Let's be careful. Let's get to the facts of it. Did President Trump...
Let's go. Let's do it.
Did President Trump or anyone on the Trump team talk to Michael Cohen about his congressional testimony before he gave congressional testimony or after he gave congressional testimony?
I can tell you, first of all, I wasn't the lawyer at the time.
Right.
Michael Cohen's lawyers reviewed his testimony with him.
Yeah, but did President Trump
No,
or anyone...
let me answer the question.
Okay.
As far as I know, President Trump did not have discussions with him, certainly had no discussions with him in which he told him or counseled him to lie. If he had any discussions with him, they'd be about the version of the events that Michael Cohen gave then, which they all believe was true. I believed it was true. I still believe it may be true because unlike these people who want to just believe him, I believe Michael Cohen is a serial liar. If you can figure out when Michael Cohen's telling the truth, you're better than I am, Jake. And that's what happened to BuzzFeed. They bought a totally phony story. They weren't going to buy it unless they got some phony stuff about federal agents, and then they went with it because they're the same ones who published the Steele dossier when no one else would do it. They obviously have a hatred for the president.
But you just acknowledged that it's possible that President Trump talked to Michael Cohen about his testimony.
Which would be perfectly normal, which the president believed was true.
So it's possible that happened, that President Trump talked to Michael Cohen about his
testimony. I don't know if
testimony.
it happened or didn't happen. And it might be attorney-client privileged if it happened, where I can't acknowledge it. But I have no knowledge that he spoke to him. But I'm telling you, I wasn't there then.
So
it's not significant because the version he gave to the...
But he's convicted of, one of the things he pleaded guilty to, I believe, is lying to Congress about the Trump Tower deal.
Which time?
Well, I'm talking.
You can pick your time.
Right, but about the Trump Tower deal. About the Trump Tower deal.
But he's pleading guilty to get a reduced sentence, which means he's saying what the prosecutor wants him to say.
But you just acknowledged that President Trump might have talked to him about his testimony.
And so what if he talked to him about it?
Is it not possible that Michael Cohen had that conversation? And I'm just asking you for what happened or what didn't happen.
It's not possible.
That Michael Cohen left the conversation thinking, well, this is what the boss wants me to say. The boss wants me to say.
Not possible. The guy driving this testimony was Michael Cohen. In other words, you and I are in a deal together. You're the guy running it. I'm the guy that's sitting back there doing 50 other things. When it comes time to remember what happens, I go to you, and you tell me what happened. I don't tell you what happened.
Well,
so Michael Cohen was telling people what happened. I don't know if the president was briefed by him or wasn't. He certainly was briefed by his lawyers, all attorney-client privilege. But I can tell you this. Michael Cohen's lawyers believed him at the time.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't the president believe him?
In his written answers.
He knew what happened. Michael Cohen, was the guy in charge of this. I emphasize that.
Right.
President Trump was running for president. So when this comes down and everybody's in a joint defense agreement, you go to Michael Cohen, you say, Michael, what happened?
Right.
Michael's going to remember a lot better what happened than Donald Trump, where this was like this big in his recollection, and it's this big in Michael's.
Right. So, but let me ask you a question.
And what you're doing is so unfair.
This part you were the lawyer for. In his lawyer for Trump for. In his written answers, President Trump's written answers to Special Counsel Robert Mueller's questions, what did President Trump have to say about the Trump-Moscow project?
He acknowledged that they had conversations about it throughout 2015, 2016.
Through November 2016.
And,
through November.
He answered.
Right? That's what you said
he
before.
answered those questions. He answered those questions fully, and I think to the satisfaction of the special counsel. So I'm not at all concerned about that. He gave a full and complete answer to it. I can't share the whole thing with you, but I can share the conclusion, which is he had conversations with Michael Cohen, but it was Michael Cohen driving the project. As, of course, anybody who's being fair-minded would understand. He was running, I emphasize, for president of the United States, tied up 18 hours a day with that.
Right.
If he could devote a minute a day to this, it'd be a lot. So it would be a minute here, a minute there, a minute here. Your recollection of that is not going to be that strong.
So let me ask you
the guy running the deal is going to remember it.
Yeah.
And I'm emphasizing the following. Do not think that just because he's pleading guilty to something, Michael Cohen's telling the truth. He's got every reason to say what the prosecutor wants him to say.
But
Corsi, they're offering Corsi a deal right now. If he says what they want him to say, he gets probation.
They're offering Corsi a deal. How do you know this, that they're offering Corsi?
Because he's suing over it.
Okay.
I have the documents. It was leaked to me. I have the documents. They gave him a script. If he reads from the script, no jail. If he doesn't read from the script, he gets maybe 5 years in jail.
So
what's the temptation to read from the script? If you are a guy like Cohen, who was a lawyer taping his own client and lying to him about it, taping Chris Cuomo and lying to him about it, stealing money back when he was fiercely loyal, in this transaction that was just uncovered, he kept $37,000.
So let me just ask you. I just want to ask you a question because the
guy is a complete scoundrel. You can't believe him. I used to like Michael. I am so disappointed.
Your position on Michael Cohen is long established. I want to ask you about you've just been talking about and suggesting that the special counsel is not on the up and up, that he's trying to get people to say things that aren't true. I want you to take a listen to something President Trump said on Sunday.
He wouldn't say that. No, wait. In fairness to the special counsel, they would say that maybe they believe that's the truth. That's what the adversary process is all about. But don't take it as gospel, because guys have pled guilty, in my experience, the things they didn't do in order to get out of worse problems that they actually did.
In your experience,
happens all the time in the criminal justice system.
When you were
unfortunate.
When you were a prosecutor, you accepted plea deals from people for
I
things
never
they didn't do?
I'm talking. You're darn right, I would never do that. I'd never do what they did with Cohen and have him plead to a campaign finance violation. That, as a matter of law, is not a campaign finance violation. I think that's phony as a $3 bill. But that gives you. Let me finish now.
Yeah.
Now I'm talking about my old office, the Southern District of New York.
Right.
That prosecution guilty plea should never have been taken. And the fact is, if it wasn't a president of the United States, it would not have been taken. If you take that plea, there are 30 members of Congress I got ready for you to prosecute who had the federal taxpayers' money used to settle sexual harassment complaints.
Yeah.
Your money and mine used to do it. That's not a campaign contribution. They should all be under investigation now. Why aren't they? Because he is treated differently and unfairly.
I have no problem with that. Let's do it. Let's bring that on.